Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Town Manager Download, a podcast about local government in the town of Shrewsbury. I'm Kevin Mizikar, the Town Manager of the town of Shrewsbury, and as always, I'm joined by Communications Coordinator Taylor Galusha. In today's episode, we are going to be joined by Keith Baldinger, Assistant Town Manager for Operations, to talk about his role as the first ATM for Ops and his journey into local government. What's going on, Taylor?
I can say it's been a while, and it's actually been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah. You said nobody would know, but it's my formal apology for being sick for like 2 weeks and then throwing off our whole schedule.
Apology accepted.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back, though.
I'm happy to be back.
We'll get back into it and
Live
make our
from
fans
Parker Road
happy.
Studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So.
Back here with Mark.
Mm-hmm. So what's happened in the last month?
A lot has happened.
It's literally been a month, I think.
It was an extra long February.
Uh-huh.
We had a leap day.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the leap year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a lot going on. I feel like February really flew by. Actually had a week off in the month and went on a college visit with my oldest daughter Alexa. So trying to work on that. We've talked about that a couple times on the download, and my girls' dance competition season is in full swing, so they're out and about and around and seemingly everywhere on the weekends. So, and then also spent some good time skiing, a couple different resorts, and did that on the week off and on some weekends. But spring has come really quick. I think several special groundhogs have been right this year.
I agree.
So
it's dance competition season for me too, every night.
Yeah?
Yeah. Watch Dance Moms. My roommate.
Which Dance Moms you watch?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, Ella watches Dance Moms, and I have to leave the room because I can't. It literally makes my skin crawl.
It's like so funny because me and my roommate, we talk about it a lot. That like we used to watch it with our moms when we were like younger, and now like watching it as an adult and like fully comprehending like everything that's happening, you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I feel like with all due respect to the talent that's on the show, I feel like it looks so dated. Like it was like 25 years ago. It wasn't, I mean, it was a while ago, but it wasn't.
No, it was literally like the 2010s.
Yeah.
So don't say that was a while ago.
With all due respect to those people.
Yeah, exactly.
That looks old. So what else has been going on?
I'm just getting excited for spring, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm over it being cold and wintry, just like our highway division, and who've done a great job this season, keeping the roads clean and safe. But I'm also ready for spring and for it to be warm out like it is today, every day, and not under 30 degrees anymore for a little bit. So
let's hope this isn't just a tease, but
it probably is. Yeah. It's like this is fool's spring, so enjoy it while it lasts. That's and then it'll be cold again in like a week or two. So
what's up in the Shrew?
We have a lot going on, but that makes sense because it's our
busy season.
All year is busy, but this is like, I feel like we really ramp up once February comes to an end. But I feel like you, Alex, and Dave have been going go since like November. But exciting engagement opportunities going on in town related to our trash and recycling program changes that will be occurring July 1st. So Goja, myself, and Kyle Orr from Casella gave a presentation at the last select board meeting on the 27th, just kind of overviewing the changes to those programs in town, the recycling cart delivery process, and we kind of just let everyone know that we're going to be doing a ton of formal presentation Q&A sessions, and also like more of like a drop-in session where people could come and just ask questions on their own time throughout March, April, May, and June, leading all the way up until the carts start actually getting picked up by Casella. So we're going to be having Casella on in a soon future episode.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. We've already had over 100 people sign up for these different sessions, so we're trying to just make it as seamless of a transition as possible. And as John Sammy has said during the select board meeting, we don't want people to know that besides the carts, we don't want anyone to know that, except maybe the
Color of the truck.
color of truck, name on the truck,
Yep.
customer service aspects of it with the app and everything. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And to kind of, again, connect with the community on that. The other big engagement project I guess we have going on right now is with the MBTA communities zoning, because that'll be before town meeting in May. And so we've created opportunities specifically for town meeting members to come and learn more about the zoning and like kind of what's being asked of us or them as the elected body when it comes to reviewing the draft zoning regulations. And then there's also some general public MBTA community zoning informational and drop-in sessions. So those are all on the town website, and we've emailed them out a few times. So hoping that people will come and learn more, have like an informed discussion about it, and all those good things. So the planning team, Chris, Louise, and Kushal have been doing a great job kind of pulling all this together. So just wanted to give them a shout out and let people know that's going on. We are going to be having our Arbor Day event again. It is April 27th, I believe. So Saturday. I think it's the last Saturday of April. It'll be at Dean Park, so more details to come on that, but that's exciting. And then you guys have Finance Committee budget hearings at the end of this month.
Yeah, the 21st and 23rd of March are the big, most detailed aspect of the budget review process, which is fully public, and we hope folks would consider joining us and asking any questions that they have. You can find the budget right now off of the town manager's page on the website and our financial transparency page, but this is an opportunity for people to come in before the finance committee makes their recommendation on the budget and provide input to them. And it's a public hearing, and the format really works great that we have each and every department head come in and make a presentation, and then the finance committee asks questions and members of the public can ask questions at the same time. So high level questions about how parts and pieces go together, or line item questions like what do you intend to spend those dollars on specifically. So it's a really open and transparent way to get through the budget process before we take another step forward in refining it before we get to town meeting.
Yeah, I've watched it both online and have gone in person, and I'll say it's probably like one of the most informative meetings, just kind of getting that overview of how all the different departments work and how kind of the puzzle comes together at the end of the day for like our town government. I learned a lot last year, and I'm excited to sit in again this year to learn even more. So it's definitely, if you can spare a few hours or 30 minutes to watch your favorite department's budget presentation, definitely like encourage people to do that.
Yeah, within the budget document itself that again can be found online right now, we have a layout of the estimated times that we're going to consider each and every or talk about each and every departmental budget. So if you have the full gamut of a Thursday evening and a Saturday afternoon, you can come for the whole thing, or you can kind of time it
or watch it back on your own time too.
So we'll definitely use that order and make any adjustments to those different departments and sequence before we get to the meeting. But it is an opportunity to pick or choose or do it all. So so a lot coming. We're in the most important build-up time for the annual town meeting. We'll start working on the warrant and all those things moving forward with the select board in the month of March. So so as we continue to grow, evolve, change, which we'll never stop doing, and we've never have ever stopped evolving since before 1727 when folks decided they wanted to settle here in Shrewsbury. We're always looking at better ways to do things, and we had another opportunity to do that about a little more than a year ago. Time really flies. With Kristen Lass had decided to move on and take the town of Westford's town manager job, which she's doing great at. So we had an opportunity within, a key leadership position within the office of the town manager to really see what did the organization need to continue to evolve and improve. And the long story short, an outcome of that process was the creation of assistant town manager for operations position, which was a little bit different than Kristen's position. She was specifically charged with overseeing community development and human services departments. So we just took a broader look at it. So the second assistant town manager position, which there are two of, is administration and finance. And then Keith Baldinger's position that he currently holds now is operations. So it's a broader look at all of those, overseeing a lot of different aspects of each and every department rather than a specific set of departments. So really interested to talk to Keith this afternoon about how that's been going and how he's developing the role as he builds himself into it, and his thoughts on being in such a high level position within our local government and getting to work with a variety of departments with a lot of different needs. So from my perspective, it's worked out differently than I thought it would have, but better than I thought at the same time. So we have a lot of projects going on right now, and a lot of additional funding sources than we've ever had with American Rescue Plan Act and additional state grants and federal grants. Keith had his fingers on a lot of them, and he continues to help manage those, and has really stepped up in some significant commercial development and residential development projects that are going on in town right now. So I don't want to steal too much of his thing. It's worked out well. Yeah. So
I think I feel like that's always a question we get asked, like why two assistant town managers, and I think being able to kind of show everyone how different David's role and Keith's role are, and then you start to be like, how did we ever not have two?
Yeah, I mean, broader brush thoughts. You know, David supports those internal support departments within our organization that help mission-oriented departments provide services to the public. So behind the scenes, how do we manage processes, support departments, collect funding, distribute funding, borrow, manage policies, things like that. And then operationally, how do we actually do that work and conduct our business? And that's more of what Keith is focused on, carrying those things out that are oftentimes more public facing than the admin and finance role. But each of them have plenty of inward and outward facing responsibilities and helping us get work done. And the simplest answer to the question of why two, I mean, we have 330 municipal employees and roughly 20 departments, and being able to provide the appropriate amount of support and attention to helping keeping strategies aligned, focus in the right areas is a lot of work. So I'll add into that, which I enjoy a lot, is helping David and Keith in all of those areas, still working directly with department heads and other staff directly, but then also managing our intergovernmental affairs is something that I've gotten to focus on. So whether that's our interaction with outside entities or state and federal government, it's just been a good opportunity to really broadly cover and thoroughly cover all aspects of the organization from our office's standpoint. So I guess without further ado, we can bring Keith in and have him join us here on today's episode on the Town Manager Download. So we're now joined by Keith Baldinger, Assistant Town Manager for Operations. Keith, welcome to the Town Manager Download.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
So another first for me.
Good. Good. So we're excited to have you on. We know you've been in your position now for, what is it, almost 9 months exactly?
9 months since June, June 1st.
That's great. And a lot has gone on. Nothing has slowed down to allow you to catch up. We know that for sure. So Well, Keith, we like to have all of our guests have the opportunity just to get to know, have all of our listeners get to know our guests a little bit better before we dive in. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and finish with how you got into local government.
Sure. So I grew up not far from here in Marlborough. Um, I went to, I went to Aspen Valley Vocational Technical High School, studied carpentry. I went to into high school wanting to be an architect and came out wanting to be a tradesperson. So that opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I worked for a company right out of high school that we built trade show exhibits, so I got to travel the entire country, learn to drive a truck. That's where I got my truck driver's license, all that stuff. So, and then we had an economic downturn, and I ended up, I used to drive a street sweeper in downtown the city of Boston, which opened my eyes up to heavy equipment. I worked on the Big Dig for 9 years, which was a great project. It's literally one of my first public works projects I ever worked on, although I had a little tiny part of it. I was an operator and a mechanic.
Also a great podcast.
Also a great podcast, if you listen to that.
Yeah.
And I did listen to that podcast, and I think I've told you that like I remember all of the politics and the memories and the work of that stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then we moved to Shrewsbury in 1999, bought a home here. Fixer-upper is an understatement, but raised my family here. I have two grown daughters, 20 and 23. Also, vocational students. They went to Assevett for metal fab, both of them. One's in the trade and one's going to be a teacher, so that's good. But around 2004, I started my own construction company. I did small projects around town, additions or excavation work or really whatever was needed, to pay the mortgage each month. So it was good. And I started to do some work for the town. I had a truck I plowed for the town, and I did work. I remember doing work on the rowing center and the Raystone Post, carpentry work, and I actually did the front steps at Town Hall at one point, repaired them, did all kinds of little work like that. And so around it was February of 2012, 12 years ago, I got an email from former Parks Director Angela Snell about a position that was open in their Parks Department. And so going back a little bit, my wife's also self-employed. We're both self-employed. That was tough. Health insurance rates were starting to go way up. So I think it was literally a February week where I had nothing going on. I was trying to figure out, what projects I had to come up with and paying bills. And so I did a little math, and I ended up applying for the job myself. And it's a maintenance craftsman job, taking care of the fields and stuff like that. So I started that job in March 28th of 2012, which if you're out there in the HR world and municipal government, it makes a difference to your retirement. So that was that was very good.
Nice.
So I get to retire a couple years early if I like. And so I stayed with the Parks Division for almost a year. And back then, park staff, there used to be one parks maintenance craftsman that went to work for the highway department in the winter. So I did that. And then during that time, they had a mechanic position open up. So I applied for that job as a fleet maintenance mechanic, which I'm a taker-aparter person and put back together type of guy. I'm not necessarily what you would call a diagnostic mechanic, but I've worked on heavy equipment all my life, and that was, it worked out very well, and I loved working in that position. And then, so in around 2014, I started taking college courses. It was my first foray into the college world. At 40 plus years old, however old I was, we don't have to talk about that. But, and I accelerated my education. I did it online. Thing to note that the first winter I did that, we had 108 inches of snow. And I still got on a roll that spring, so that was pretty cool. I didn't sleep much for a couple months, but then I got my associate's degree and I started looking for management positions in local government. And I was there wasn't anything in Shrewsbury at the time, and so I ended up going to the town of Concord as assistant superintendent of highway and grounds. And I will be honest, I was the people that hired me, like they gave me a chance, because I had no official management, experience. I ran a business, I was a foreman, but also didn't have that college degree for a lot of that time. So, and then when I went to Concord, it's a great small town to work in, and that's where I learned that we literally help people every day. Like that's what our job is, right? So, so I was there for almost 2 years, and then I came back to Shrewsbury as a public buildings division manager, and that was almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or a little over 5 years ago now. So,
What made you want to go back to school, or like take that jump at least to do it?
So for me at that point, it was literally, looking in. So I grew up reading the newspaper for jobs, right? You have the general jobs, and then you have professional jobs. That's the way it used to be, right? And the professional jobs I could never look at because there was no degree, right? So the degree really, more than anything, it quantified my experience, and I needed that.
Yep.
And I will tell you too, I enjoyed it, right? I mean, it was tough. It was, I did what's essentially a 4-year school in 34 months. I did it online, so the New Hampshire University, which had an amazing support system, like literally 12:30 at night, finish a paper, make a phone call or send an email, and somebody will review it for you. So it was just a lot of help. I also had a great wife that said, yeah, we'll hold off on the honeydew list for a few years, because without that, I was, it would have been tough. But it was really to, I wanted to go further. I know I enjoy working with my hands and I love that work, but I can't treat my body like I'm 25 forever. So, I had to make a change. But.
Interesting. So, you talked about you came back to the town, public buildings division manager. That's when we had just created the Department of Public Works and continue to evolve on that side of the house with pretty much everything else. Because, as I said at the beginning, we're a work in progress, and we'll never stop evolving as this community continues to change, and we'll always. But you didn't stop there, of course. And you didn't go straight to the assistant town manager from there either. You served as assistant DPW director. So how did that role fit into the picture, and what opportunities did it provide you, and what were your responsibilities there?
Sure. So, the public buildings division manager role it has to be a very collaborative role with other town departments, and specifically the school department. And then assistant director of public works, it's really trying to, that position that supports all of the DPW divisions so they can collaborate better, so that they have the project management support or technical support or getting the right resources and training, really, and supporting the director with his because that's the director is at a higher level, further outlook position. So the assistant director is kind of that midpoint that helps him see forward, but also helps with current day-to-day, week out, month out type of projects for the rest of the public works.
Great. And so let's spend some time now and talk a little bit more about the details of your current role in the ATM for Ops position. So talk about, I don't know, that first 9 months and what you've learned, and what specifically a couple of specific projects that you've been working on.
Sure. So if we back up a little bit, you think you're in DPW and you think you know a lot that's going on, and then you come down to the manager's office, like it's literally everything that the community works on or is part of. So certainly, learning that part of it, what we really do. And again, it all goes back to everything that comes through our door or into our office. We're helping residents in some form. And whether that's safety or health or making their life better or offering more services, and so that that is eye-opening for me, for sure, like seeing what's coming through there. But I think the biggest part for me is I get to work with all the departments and help them get through there. It's like the assistant director position in DPW. It's just, except it's over more departments, and really understand what their issues are and how we can help them and how we can support them and how we can make sure that they have what they need, and talk to them about budget or how their operation is working, how we can improve efficiencies, like all of that stuff. And then the other part is I get being, I think one of the things I enjoy the most right now, honestly, is I've been in construction all my life, and but the economic development piece is something that's never really been there for me, right? Like, I get it. I get how things are built, and I get how they're put together, but understanding how collaboration with communities can help economic growth with developers and landowners and all that stuff. I mean, I'm really enjoying that part of it. And, so that's been a big thing, been part of a few projects that we're working on. One of the things we started this year was when a new developer comes to the community, we have them have outreach meetings in the neighborhood. So, the people that live near their project know what's going on, and, know what's coming, know what the construction is going to look like. So I think that's been well received. And it's just every day there's something different, which is super cool for me.
So, what has this is the least favorite question that was asked whenever I started here a lot, so I always ask it now. So what surprised you the most coming into this role? Was anything that completely caught you off guard, about the position or about the organization, or anything?
I don't know about completely off guard, but I'm continually surprised every day by my coworkers. Like certainly the town manager's office. I mean that there's 10 of us in there, and I don't know, we're just a force to be reckoned with. Like everybody is extremely smart, hardworking, great to be in the room with. I think that surprises me more than anything. And yeah, I mean, more than anything, that's it. Like, as far as any outside forces, like what's coming through the door with, resident issues or something like that. I mean, yeah, there's those little surprises, but nothing that affects me more than my coworkers, I think. So.
Yeah. Great. So, I think in the manager's office, we have to apply. Maybe it's not concrete policy, but we have to apply policy, direction, cultural support and advice across really a number of diverse lines of business. I know you experienced this in your senior management roles in DPW, but what has that been like, getting to work with the select board and maybe seeing behind the scenes and hearing their conversations a little bit more one-on-one, and then how that gets carried out?
So first of all, I think there's an amazing amount of work that gets carried out every day, and learning, working with the board members, that's certainly new, but understanding what they're hearing from residents, and what they're seeing and what their concerns are. And how much they do really care about the community. And then, you spread that out, and it's the same when you working with other department heads, like really learning and understanding what their challenges are and what they're going through, and, what their vision is, or outlook on how they see things going, and trying to improve their communication with us. So like, don't be afraid to reach out. Well, you can't do it alone. So I think that's
One
the
thing
biggest
I've
push.
liked about like our work together, because we meet every week to catch up on projects and things, but I feel like it's like kind of carried out that like community engagement collaboration approach that I feel like we've been trying to, I guess, bring more to the forefront since the like acceptance of the strategic plan and going through that whole process, because that was a big theme of what we heard from residents. And I feel like your operations role really helps bring that into like our internal organization, but also like the external parts too, like you were saying with the economic development side, and then me collaborating on a
Yep.
bunch of different projects, whether it's DPW related, planning related. I think like the ops role just kind of enhances that. You can kind of end up being like the web that connects a
Right.
lot of those things together, which
And
is
that
unique and cool.
comes from working in DPW, which you hear a lot in that field is, they don't know what we do every day, right? So I think it's important that, and I think with Kevin, with your guidance for sure, like we're telling the story, like that's what we want to do. We want to get the message out, and let people know what is happening, and let people understand what we are doing, because most people don't know. They're worried about that space in front of their house or their ride to work in the morning, like what's going on, sidewalks or potholes and that sort of thing, and don't really see all of the other things that we do to try to improve their lives.
So Keith, you've gone from roles that were, as you said, you started your career incredibly hands-on, literally hands-on, to a role that is probably you don't actually get to create real work product on a day-to-day basis, tangible work
Sure.
product on a day-to-day basis. So what has that been like, and what have you done, if anything, to balance that need to develop products, in your personal or professional life?
I have a lot of stuff going on in my garage at home, so that helps. But no, and that is tough, right? Like so I literally went from a hands-on career job to a cubicle overnight. I think I was in a salt truck the day before I started my job in Concord, right? So and that's tough, and that's took a few years to get to the point where I don't have to have my hand in there. I don't have to do it, but I can, hopefully my experience helps people figure stuff out, but and you talk about tangible things that I make with my hands. Well, that might not happen at work, but we have a lot of great outcomes from the work that we do. We built a new elementary school, and we built a new police station, right? Like, I physically didn't have a part of it, but we did a ton of work on it. Was involved with the entire process, probably more than the architects and contractors wanted me to be involved. But, I was, so I would say that I still get to do that tangible stuff. And even little things too, like, my current office now is something that we built in-house with public buildings. I was able to manage that and get the people together and all that stuff. And, it's just new little projects every day.
Great. So as you kind of look back on this last 10 or 15 years, and you've accomplished a ton, what advice would you give, if any, people thinking about going back to school, and what impact it could have, and maybe pick up a little bit more on that phrase that you used before, which I'm not going to get exactly right, but you kind of said it formalized your experience or something like that.
Sure. So I think, so I guess we can go way back, right? So when I got out of high school, I truly had no desire to go to college. I didn't want to spend any more time in school. I was looking at the military. I was looking at the trades. Back then I was looking at the dollar, so I went to the trades. And I think I did very well, in that role, in those roles. I was able to, buy a home and support my family and raise children and all that stuff. And, it was great. It was really when I got older, and I said I have to, I'd like to be in a foreman position or a supervisor role or a manager position, change my lifestyle a little bit. And I started to look, and so my degree is in operations management with concentration in project management, which is essentially what I did in my career, right? So I think the key for somebody doing it, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to go, right? Like, if you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and you don't feel that you're ready, then don't. Wait, there's always those opportunities. And the opportunities now are so much easier than they were decades ago. So, because I did, like I said, I raised a family, worked a full-time job, and still went to school and finished in less than 4 years. So it's good. But I would just make sure, I would just recommend that you when you commit to something like that, that it's what you want, right? Because don't just go because you're supposed to go, because there are so many different paths, and I think I proved that. And, I did it essentially backwards. But, there is I think there is a change and a shift in hiring now too, that, experience is kind of winning out more than necessarily education. So I would just I guess the simple answer is that if you're looking at college, make sure that you're going to do it for the right reasons, and those are for yourself, not for somebody else. So no matter what your age is, really.
Sure. Yeah. So kind of as we wrap up the thoughts on the assistant position, why don't you talk a little bit about how you interact with the other assistant town manager, and your thoughts on, those two roles and the coverage of the organization, and any benefits to that. I know I get to see it every day in the work that we do, and, toot our own horn how diligent we are at thinking and rethinking and reconsidering our position and our approach really across the board. But how do you see your role complementing that of the role that David Snowden's in for ATM of Administration and Finance, and really helping us, become the best local government that we can?
So I think the short answer is that I couldn't do David's job, right? Like he truly is the wizard when it comes to finance. Like he seems to love it, enjoy it, and he helps me through processes and understanding how the budget works and how funds come in, and what they can be used for and where. And I think I feel my piece of it is really getting a full understanding of the operation and how everything works. And then and understanding costs, and then working with David to understand how we pay for this and how we can make this happen. Supporting department heads or division managers with how they can adjust their budget, or what they like. We sit in budget meetings and we talk about the budget, and we did that as a team. And Kevin and David, you can sit and fully understand where all the money's come from, where it's going, how it looks, what the line items are, and my piece of that is asking how come we couldn't pay it from here, or how come this group is not coming out of that budget, because I understand how the operation works and where things come from and where they go. And the budget is a huge part of our workload, and I think my ability is to allow David, to focus on that, and not necessarily have to worry about the operational piece, and I can report to him, and we can discuss and figure, and we do it all the time, right? Just collaborate. I'm outside of the office more than he is, which but I'm good with that, but some of the public stuff that we do, I don't always want to be up front, but that's okay too. But and just I think Dave and I work very well together. When we were in DPW together, I think we worked well together too. So just a good relationship.
Well, this is great. So, I mean, that's a lot of insight into what you do on a day-to-day basis, and really helping manage the variety of responsibilities that you have within the organization, and helping a diverse portfolio of local government departments meet the needs of the residents, and we appreciate all that. But shifting gears a little bit here, we want to talk about some things that I know are your outside in your outside wheelhouse activities. So we like to have a final segment with our guests where we find out a little bit more about their personal interests, and it's the segment we call the best. So Keith, what do you think is the best form of racing?
So I think I'm a big NASCAR fan, so I think that's a great form, and I enjoy it. I'm really into it, and like probably more into it in the past few years than I have in my entire life. But like I remember the first Daytona 500 on TV. That's how far back I've been watching it, right? So, but I would have to say it's my favorite event, racing event, is the Indy 500. So I think this year we figured out will be my 25th year going to that race in person. So it's not really a racing event; it's more of a big party with a race that happens to go on. But yeah, and I think that's just amazing. The speeds are amazing. They go by you at 230 miles an hour, and it's just can't fathom it. Couldn't even fathom being in the car. But yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Taylor, what's your favorite form of racing?
I like playing Mario Kart.
There you go. That's awesome.
As everyone can probably guess, I'm not the one that came up with this question today. I will take it not on car vehicle related, and that's why it was intentionally vague for me. But I do love going to swim meets still, even though I can't compete anymore. But I love when it does come on for the Olympics, watching that and watching my old teammates that competed at the NEC championship. I think they're out in Ohio this year, last weekend. So I'll always be fond of watching swimming. But yeah, I can't say that I've watched a lot of. I used to watch NASCAR with my dad a little bit, but I can't say that I do it that much anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Racing's racing.
Yep.
Same concept.
Just different.
Different ways of getting there.
Just want to be fast.
Yeah.
Want to go fast.
All right, so I won't shy away from this one and try to skip it.
Just go. You want to talk about it.
I mean, my favorite form of racing is late model cars on dirt tracks. So I had a really ton of fun in my college years going those type of races with a team and being in the pits and getting to participate. So a lot of fond memories for a number of reasons, but it's crazy racing, big
Were you
horsepower.
changing tires?
I did change tires.
No, that's what I'm asking.
No,
Because you said you were in the pit.
Well, yeah, you don't do that live and like you don't do that like in a pit stop that you see in a NASCAR event, but
in between.
Yeah, in between races and things like that. But it's a really interesting form of racing. I know generally speaking, not a lot of people follow it, especially in this area. There are some good dirt tracks left. A lot of those dirt tracks got paved over, but big horsepower, a lot of beating and banging and figuring out how to get through the race as you're doing it. It's amazing, just a lot of fun and a pretty unique form of motorsports and racing. So had a lot of fun doing that, and continue to love many spectrums of motorsports, the whole way from that to Formula One and everything in between. So, well, I guess that's it. So we covered a lot of different features in the show today as we move our way into town meeting and learn more about Keith and his position as assistant town manager for operations. This has been another great episode of the Town Manager Download. We remind everyone if they want to reach out, they can reach us at tmdownload@shrewsburyma.gov. Thank you, Keith, for taking the time to come on and talk with us. This has been another great conversation. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. On behalf of Taylor Galusha, I'm Kevin Mizikar. Thank you for listening.